Hi guys, Alec Peirce at the ranch here again. A beautiful day, just a gorgeous day here up at the ranch with Kevin doing his best to make a nice video. I'm here to talk about a neat device that I discovered a good many years ago. I mentioned it to one of my neighbors and he said, boy, I never heard about that. So I thought I'd share it with you. And that's called bear scare. Technically, they're actually called scare cartridges. Now, if it's a bear you're trying to scare, I guess it's a bear scare. If it's something else, a coyote you're trying to scare rather than shoot, I'm not sure why you would scare it instead of killing it, but that's another story. Then it would be a coyote scare. Anyway, scare cartridges, and it's just a 12 gauge shell. Looks just like a 12 gauge shell. It says danger explosive, yeah, like any 12 gauge shell, and you can see it's a standard tall brass 12 gauge cartridge, but they're pretty neat. If you're trying to, and we used these a little while ago. Our neighbor has dogs, quite a few dogs. He uses them for guard dogs for his horses. He has a lot of horses and cattle, and he uses the dogs as guard dogs. These are not house pets. No, these dogs stay outside 365, and the great guard dogs, if anything moves, they bark their heads off. If something comes onto the property, they chase it off. These are big dogs, Alsatians, I think, and he chases them off. They're great dogs, and pretty too. But we don't want them on our property. First of all, we have horses and we have cats and we have Winnie, our dog. You've seen Winnie. So, and all that kind of. So we don't want those big dogs on our property. They used to come on when the people first moved in. Well, I solved the problem. One day I was annoyed, and there were 2 or 3 of them at the end of the laneway. Our laneway is 400 feet long or so, and I got my bear scare out and turned my bear scare into a dog scare, and just one shot, and they have never been back since. That's over 2 years ago. So it works. It works really, really well. What does it do? Well, the neat thing about a bear scare, one of these cartridges is, as it's designed, as the name implies, it'll scare something. It will not kill it. Doesn't hurt it. I don't know for sure. Wouldn't want to hold it in my hand, but if one of these went up close to you, it'd be very, very loud. Could damage your ears, but it won't hurt you. It's not like a real cartridge. I'm going to show you what happens. When you put this into your 12 gauge shotgun, then just like so, it's kind of still unsafe. Then very simply, you just aim and pull the trigger, just like any other bullet. But rather than aiming at your target, you shoot up. Oh, maybe like this, somewhere between 30 and 45 degrees. And at this end, when you pull the trigger, you hear very little. Poof. That's what you hear. Very little at this end. So that particular sound of the actual cartridge being fired does not distract the animal at all. He doesn't hear that really. He's very quiet. But then what happens is that the cartridge flies, and it'll fly probably 100 yards, maybe a bit more depending on the angle. It'll fly out there, and in the 2 or 3 seconds during which it's flying, it is getting ready to explode. I'm going to do one, and you see what happens. I'm going to shoot this, going to aim over towards the big old elm tree over there, and you'll see what happens. Hopefully Kevin will catch most of this. Certainly, I think you'll get the noise. Okay, here we go, folks. Stand back. Okay, now I'm going to stand a little closer to the camera this time. Not that I need to be close to the camera for you to hear it, because I'm wearing a microphone, but you actually heard the sound. And the sound of it going off is minimal. It's less than a 22, very, very little. So let's put another one in here, and I'm going to do that one more time, and now you know what to expect, so you listen. And also what I'm going to do this time, I'll aim a little higher. So the cartridge will go up and come down, and it may explode when it hits the ground, or perhaps even before. If you aim farther, then the cartridge will explode before it hits the ground. It's about a 3, maybe a 4 second delay. So let's see if I can make it explode before it hits the ground. Not that it needs to, you just need to hit it anywhere near what you're trying to scare, and it does the trick. Okay, you ready, Kevin? Here we go. I'm going to aim a little bit to the left this time. You see the big dark tree? Over there. All right, so in that particular case, because I aimed quite a bit higher, it went up, arced down, and by the time it was getting close to the ground, probably still 20, 30 feet off the ground, it exploded in the air, which you can do sometimes, depending on what you're trying. You can make it land on the ground, past whatever it is you're trying to scare, right in the animal's face, if you need to shoot it right at the face. If it was a bear causing a real problem, I would probably shoot directly at the bear. It would land right in front of the bear or on the bear and explode, and he's going to be a little bit. So there's something interesting. Bear scares, what I call them. They're actually called scare cartridges, and it's just a 12 gauge shotgun shell, very simple, very inexpensive, and it just might solve a few problems for you guys living on a ranch as we do. There you go. Thought I'd share that with you. Our neighbor liked it. Maybe you will too. Dogs don't like it. Talk to you soon. Alec Peirce at the ranch.